It's clear to me that you're going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you in the ass! What's up, guys? How's it going? It's Monday. Mr. Graboid, a great name by the way, suggested to me to talk about should they remake Jaws. Now, in short answer, no. In long answer, fuck no. Leave Jaws alone. So on my last video when I asked for people to do suggestions, I got this one from Mr. Graboid that asked if they should remake Jaws, and then I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to incorporate another one from Benny Boyles. He told me to talk about one of my favorite movies, like of certain era, and I'm going to start with like blockbuster era when everything kind of started hitting the hot buttons and stuff. Jaws fits into that category for me, so that's why I kind of decided to incorporate these two. Why shouldn't they remake Jaws? Because it's a classic. Now, I understand when it comes to remakes, sometimes classics are fair game, and it makes sense to me. I mean, I get it, but doesn't mean they should. When we remake a classic, what you have to do is you have to change the story, keep the characters. What they do is they have the same character of James Bond, Moneypenny, M, and such, but they change the story so that it's a unique story to that certain James Bond. That's one of the good ways to remake something, is when you do it by changing the story. We all see how that worked out. There are some remakes out there that just don't need to happen. And Jaws is one of them because, one, it's a perfect movie. Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a classic. It's the first blockbuster. It was the first movie ever to kill at the summer box office. One of the first movies to ever shoot on the ocean. Spielberg's first really big movie. It was his first mega hit. It's still a great movie that holds up today. Why? It's because of the great performances by the actors, the great story, the great practicality of it, and just the fact that it's just an all-around good movie. You know, I just consider it that. I still watch it all the time. It's one of those movies where I just pick it up on a day where I just I need something to watch, and I watch Jaws. Yeah, they should never remake Jaws. No, that's one where they don't need to do it. There are so many great parts to the film Jaws that don't need a revisit, don't need a redux, don't need to be done over again because they were so well done the first time. When you do something right the first time, you don't have to do it again. One of the best characters in film, played by Robert Shaw, Captain Quint. He is just one of what I would consider one of the best characters, written characters. He's got a past to him. He's got a great presence to him, a great performance. He's very much I tell everyone my favorite movie character of all time is Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Right under Lieutenant Dan, it's Captain Quint. He is number 2. So good and well acted and can tell a story like no one else. That's the other thing. He could tell a story, man. The scene where they're at the bottom of the boat. They're in the hull of it or whatever, the cabin area, and they're all sitting around the boat just drinking, swapping stories, doing some basic dude bonding. Then they mention the tattoo missing. I think it was on his arm, or Hooper makes the joke that it said mother. And that's one of my favorite jokes. And then we find out it said SS Indianapolis. It leads into one of the greatest stories ever told. And by told, I mean literally told. It's just him sitting there, telling the whole story of how he got into hunting sharks and doing what he does. Was because he was on the SS Indianapolis when it went down, and thousands of men were just stuck in the ocean and they got eaten by sharks slowly. You're so fixed on his character, and you can't remake something like that. You can't remake some character like Captain Quint. He is just such a good character that can't be touched. You got 2 other great supporting characters. Well, technically he's a supporting character too, but for me, I've always seen Quint as more the main guy, even though he doesn't show up. Everyone knows Chief Brody's the main guy, and then you got Hooper. You got Robert Shaw as Captain Quint, and then you got Roy Scheider as Chief Brody, and then you got Richard Dreyfuss as Hooper. And it's just so well done, like, within those three. A great cast of three. And that's another thing you could not remake. You could not remake that cast of three. It's just one of those things where you can't replace a certain character. So you just got such a great cast of characters, such a well done story. And the other thing about the movie is it's still scary. The reason why a remake would ruin those scares is because they would try to up them. Now, upping the scares is never a really good thing when you're really trying to. This will be scary. Let's show a guy getting torn apart. Let's see blood everywhere. Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes that doesn't work. It would bother me so much because they would probably show you more of the shark, and it would probably be a digital shark. No. It would just irk me to all hell. Because the best part is that you never see the shark until about 2/3 into the movie. But one of the best scenes is the first scene of the movie. Everyone remembers the opening of Jaws. The lady skinny dipping, and then the guy's drunk on the beach, and he like passes out, and she's swimming, and then she's getting attacked by the shark. Here's the thing. You never see the shark in that scene. You hear the amazing John Williams score, dun, 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 and you see her get chomped, and you see her get pulled underwater, and you see her like thrashing around the water doing that weird like thing, you know, and that's all you see. And then bam, dead. And then you find her body the next day. It's really cool that the fact that one of the scariest, intense scenes of the movie, you don't even see the thing killing her. They would totally try to ruin that. They would be like, we gotta show the shark doing like some crazy like deep blue sea swimming, you know, and let's probably put Sam Jackson in it anyway, because you know he's in fucking everything. And you can't remake all those good scares. You got the great scare of when the little kid is swimming, and then it's just prefaced by that guy who's playing fetch with his dog in the water, Pippet, I think that was his name, and he's playing fetch with the dog, and all of a sudden the guy's just calling for his dog. Because he can't find his dog. We know what happened to the dog. Fucker got eaten. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And bam, little kid gets eaten. And then that old lady slaps Brody in the face. For no reason, even though it was the mayor's fault, to be fair. Just saying, it was the mayor's fault. And that just scene is so creepy because you know that shark is under everybody. Who the fuck should I bite next? Yeah, and then he eats the kid. And then you got that scene where everyone's scared to go in the water, but then they go back in the water because the mayor is an asshole. Brody needs to punch him in the face and be like, people are dying because you're an asshole. Everybody's swimming, and then that kid pretends to be a shark just to be funny. Shit. The real shark shows up in the estuary. That's when you really first get a good look at the shark. There's actually a deleted scene where when that guy gets attacked, if you've seen the movie, the shark runs into these two boats, and one of them has Chief Brody's son in it, and the other one has this guy in it that's just trying to like help him out and stuff. And he's trying to climb up onto his boat, and then you see the shark's mouth under the water attack the guy's leg, and then you see his leg hit the bottom of the ocean. And that part's so creepy. You get that POV shot of the guy getting dragged by the shark. Now, that's one of the best scenes of the movie because it was also deleted and cut down because it was seen as too scary and too brutal. Because when the guy gets attacked by the shark and dragged across, he grabs Mike and pulls him to shore. And that's how he got to the shore. And the first time they went into shock, and then he was all like, you know, out of fear. You can't recreate that terror that they cut down and still made it scary, you know? Like, they cut down the terror of that scene, and it was still terrifying just as much. One of the last scenes of the movie that is what I consider the scariest. While they're fishing, you got the first time they really see the shark, of course, where it's, why don't you come down here and chum some of this shit? And then the shark comes up and Brody sees him, says we need a bigger boat line, and then they do that swim thing, shoot him with the barrels and stuff, and then, oh, it's great. You can't remake that. You know, you can't remake the improv of that great scene because you got the part where Quint's driving really fast and he's pissed off. Just everything on the boat is one of the best parts of the movie. You got the part where Quint's driving and he's pissed off and he starts singing his Spanish lady song, and then the boat explodes and it breaks down and they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. And then we're gonna need a bigger boat, which is one of the best improvised lines in cinema history. And then, of course, you got that whole cage scene, which is terrifying. And then you got what I considered the scariest scene in the movie, because I still freak out when I'm watching it. It's so hard to watch, even now. Because it's when Jaws, the shark, I mean, his name technically isn't Jaws. He breaks the bottom of the boat, and they're all getting like pulled down into the bottom of the boat, and you see his mouth at the bottom doing that very famous like Jaws scene, and then he just chomp, 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 and then all of a sudden you see Quint hanging onto that shelf, and then all of a sudden that air tanker hits his fingers. Oh shit! And all of a sudden you just see Brody grab his arm, and they do that whole like arm thing, try to get leverage, and then slip, 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 and then eye to eye, just like that perfect like eye contact thing, is just like, oh fuck, and then all of a sudden slip. And you just see this utter look of terror on Robert Shaw's face, because he's like, I'm dead. I'm gone. That's it. This shark has got me. I'm dead. I'm gonna be eaten. This is it. Game's over. And then all of a sudden you just see, oh no, the coolest badass in this movie is dead. He's gonna die. And then you're like, oh, maybe he'll get away. He grabbed that cool machete thing, and it looked like a giant kitchen knife, basically, and he starts stabbing it in the face. Chomp! Eats him from the waist down, and then he starts bleeding and screaming and just all of a sudden, bam, spits up blood, and I get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it, because it's just so brutal, and so, you're like, this guy, the reason he kills sharks is because he was terrified of them. He hates them because all his friends in the Indianapolis got killed by sharks. And he's just like, they're never gonna get me, I'm gonna get them first, kind of thing, and then chomp. He's dead. Fuck! Of course, we got the coolest scene in the movie that no one could ever duplicate, is when Cheap Brody is hitting him with the freaking air tank, and then he throws it in his mouth, and he grabs that N1 rifle, and he's in the crow's nest of the boat, leaning over the water, face to face. It's like a face-to-face showdown, and he's like, come on, show me the tank, kind of thing. And then, bang! Bang! And then he sees it, lines up the shot, smile, you son of a... Boom! Exploded. Kaboom. Shark exploded. If you don't know, Hooper was in his scuba gear, and he was like hiding in the water so he wouldn't get eaten by the shark. And then he swims up, and he's like, oh, shark blew up. Sweet. Let's see who's alive. And then they had just that cool paddle scene where they paddle away. I basically just gave you a synopsis of the film. And why you couldn't remake it. Because that excitement level I just gave you guys would not be the same. You could not remake that movie, and the movie still holds up today. So, plain and simple, I love Jaws. It's one of my favorite movies ever, of all time. And remaking it would probably ruin the fact that it's so good, and we don't have anything that spoils it. Well, maybe Jaws 2 and Jaws 3, and Jaws 4. But no one watched those. So, yeah, this is That Weird Ninja. Shout out to Benny Boyle and Mr. Graboid for getting me to talk about this. Keep it real, keep it super, keep it awesome. Thumbs up, thumbs down, unsubscribe, subscribe. Who cares? I'll be seeing you guys next Monday.
Bonfire!